Okay, so this is the bonus content. We have generated this in Redshift, and I would like to find out how to do this in Karma. Just dive into Solaris. So this is stage context, and I have some experience in this but not fully familiar. So let's create the scene import node, and I'm just gonna pick the objects I want. So from grid 1 to morph, and then I would like to drop down the scene import cameras to bring in the cameras, and the camera that I want is only the render cam, and I would like to create a light, environment light. So this would be for Karma, and just Karma XPU, and then I can see my scene. Change my camera to the render cam. So this is Karma XPU, and it's quite speedy. And next I'm gonna drop down the material library node and just create the materials. So let me turn off the light display, and the first material I like to create is the one for the ground. So let me create a MaterialX, USD MaterialX builder, make 2 of them. One is for morph and the other is for the background. And inside background, let me go here and create a texture node, MaterialX image, and let's pick up the file name to be base color to base color, and perhaps just restart the render. That did not work. So I'm gonna just quick mark this stage context to 4, so I can hop over to the stage context and back, and autofill materials. So the material for background to background and assign to geometry, and the geometry path shall be, for the background it's these 3 objects here, and for morph should be just morph. Right? So let me dive in, background. Yeah, so it's showing, the texture is showing. And next I need another one for, well, the color space for that one should be sRGB texture. This one for the spec roughness shall be raw. And finally one for the bump normal node, that shall be raw as well. And I need the bump input to interpret this as a normal. So I've just got to plug this into tangent. Assuming that's exactly how it works, just gonna jump up here, and I need to feed in my environment light. So on my dome light, let me go to the texture node here and just pick up my dome light. That looks pretty good already. And I can potentially transform this light to similar to the Redshift render this way. And next shall be my other material, and I'll create 2 materials again. Material surface, material 1. Is this standard material? Standard surface, right? So that's the one. I have standard surface 1 and standard surface 2. Just collapse this. And I need mix, MaterialX mix, foreground, background, and a mix. So maybe this one I'll just make it dark and just make a constant here. Just put in a value here and turn it 0 to 1 to 0. So this works, just a mix shader. So this is like the Redshift blend material, and I'm just gonna call the attribute. Let me just browse the library here. Geometry property value. So let me plug that into mix, and the property is called fall off. And true enough, we can see the transition here. Let me turn off the grid. And so let me make sure that the first one is looking like the clay that we were looking for, which is a very dark blue, also very rough. And it has a displacement, we'll get to that in a second. And the other one, after transitioning, so I got the foreground, background mixed up, shall be the gold, which metalness shall be 1, and the color shall be something like this. And we will bring in the file texture, which is called image, and I'll pick up the textures normal, the carbon fiber normal, and just plug it into the material surfaces bump normal. So that doesn't look correct, and let me just make sure that the color space is set to raw, and that's just, there's a normal map node. That's interesting. Let's plug it in between here. Yeah, so that works, and let's just increase the coordinates repetition. Oh, I can scale it here. That's the normal scale. And what I wish to do is to repeat the texture, so let me drop down UV tiled image, right? Let me just do that. Color space shall be raw, plug that in, and maybe the tiling I can choose 2 now. Nice. So that's how it's done. Next, just gotta make sure that the clay gets some love too. So let's drop down the displacement shader, and there should be a mix. So let me drop down a mix, foreground, background, and I'm just gonna drop down a noise node. Just put into displacement and reduce the displacement to 0.1 and then increase my noise pattern. So let's say 10. It's a whirly noise. And the displacement shall be 0.05. I think fractal noise might be just what we need. Maybe I have to add two noises together. So this whirly. And then let me drop down and add. So these two noises added together should give me my clay-like material. And then I will need to mix that in the foreground. So empty displacement node. And the mix shall be driven by my property here. So that should mask it out. Yeah, it all works. It's just slightly bright in the background, so let me hop over to the material library of the background and just drop the base color slightly darker. Yep, so if you don't have access to Redshift, and then this will be the way to render it. So let me just drop down the last few Karma nodes, Karma, and it will give the USD render up. This was the Karma settings. Camera is missing from the input, so let me just go to Karma settings, and the engine should be XPU, and the camera, which shall be somewhere. Right, so it's because we did not specify the camera of this one. We should choose the render cam, and that should pick up the resolution from the camera, or I can just force it to be HD. Stop my render and start my render again. It's actually fairly fast. It's pretty cool. Okay, no more complaints from Karma. So this is a basic Solaris tree here, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial or this added bonus content. Once again, it's Ronald speaking, and hope to catch you guys back with the main series of Houdini Who Don't Know. I'll see you around. Bye.